Thank you, and good afternoon to all of the future generation of leaders, technocrats, as I might call it, and the future of India. How do you feel being the future of India? Well, how do you feel being the future of India? Some of you are still doubting, right? That's why you're doing this workshop or you're attending this workshop to really figure out how do you feel about being the future of India. Yes? So, when I was called upon to talk about my life uh, and use that as a reference point, my question is always there's so much in my life that has happened. What memories should I pick to talk to you about? So, today I'm going to talk to you about three very interesting stories that happened in my life. My first story starts at the age of 6. Okay? This happened when I was in the first standard. I was very new to the school. Teacher walked in and said, which one of you would like to take part in the mathematics quiz? I put my hands up. Another teacher walked by and said, after the third period got over, which one of you would like to take part in the singing competition? Nobody was putting their hands up, so I said, okay, somebody has to represent the class. So I put my hand up. And this happened over and over again in the next 3-4 days. And I realized I had put my hand up for every possible competition. And guess what? Out of the 10, 6, I came first. Now, did I know how to dance at the age of 6? No. Did I know how to sing? No. Did I know how to, solve mathematics puzzles? No. But somehow, I managed to score 6 or 5 out of the 10 subjects that I'd taken part in. And this lesson is a very important lesson for me because I always believe that if you take a chance on life, life happens to you. So it's very important that sometimes you must jump before you leap, you must leap before you think, simply because you never know how good or how bad you'd be, because just thinking and anticipating might kill the enthusiasm to do certain things. So sometimes you need to have a childlike innocence and enthusiasm to take part in life, to participate in life, because you never know, you might discover something within you. So that was my lesson number 1 when I look back at my life and I said, that was great. And then what happened was, because I had won these competitions, confidence started building in, that I can do this. I'm good. And I kept doing this and I kept winning certain competitions. Till one day I did win the competition. But the judge who selected me for the competition and gave me the first prize, it was a dance competition, of course. She said, come here. Says, what's your name? Says, you, participant number 7. I said, yes, ma'am. I said, my name is Terence Lewis. And she looked at me and said, you're good, but you need to know that you won the competition, right? I said, yes. And I was like really being very happy and saying, yes, she's going to say something nice, right? And he says, you're the best of the worst. So first I thought, she's still flattering me, because I didn't understand what she said. Because you're expecting a good thing and you think even the bad thing that she said must be a flattery. Then I did a little double take and I said, no, there's something wrong. Dal mein kuch kala peela bahut kuch hai isme. I said, ma'am, what do you mean? And she said, beta, you're good at what you do. You're overconfident because you've won too many competitions, but you need to know that you are the best of the worst, which means everybody who's around you is not good, therefore you look great. And she says, confidence will get you only to somewhere, but it won't get you to the top. And that's why I'm reminded of this very interesting story, because this story really moved me and I realized that, I need to up my game. And that is why I always talk to people whenever this incident comes into my life. I remember one very famous guru who said this story, and I'm going to repeat that story. It's a very interesting story. And a lot of it happens in India, especially in our country. But the times have changed, and I want to warn you that this story will probably help you take away any kind of illusion that confidence only works. So here's that story. This is my story number 2. There was a bull and a pheasant. Okay? There was a bull and a pheasant who were friends. Now, the pheasant is a very large bird. It can't fly very high because it's very heavy. So one day it went to the bull, and the bull was, looking at her and said, "What happened to you?" "Nothing. It's just that, I'm getting old, and I look at the other birds, and I look at how high they fly at the branches of the tree, and I feel I wish I could fly that high." And the bull said, "No problem. Just eat a little of my shit and you can fly to the first branch of the tree. Trust me." And the pheasant looked and said, "What crap are you talking about? That can't be possible." The bull said, "Look, try it." The pheasant thought for herself and said, why not, Tried everything. Why not try this shit? Bullshit, So, she tried the shit. And lo and behold, the next morning she was in the first branch of the tree. She was very excited, very happy. She thanked the bull. A few days later, the desire again came in, and she said, "If the first branch of the tree can be achieved, why not the third?" So she went to the bull and said, "Listen, I really want to try to the third branch of the tree." The bull said, "Very simple, eat more of my shit." So the pheasant thought for itself, but it said, "One time lucky, what's the harm? Let's try it again." So she tried again. And lo and behold, the next morning she reached the third branch of the tree, and this continued for many days till finally the pheasant reached the last topmost branch of the tree. Very happy. She looked at the bull, waved and said, "Thank you." And she was really beaming and felt powerful. Very powerful when you're at the top. And then suddenly there was a hunter who was passing by. And he was looking around, and his eyes went straight at the pheasant. He picked up his gun, shot the pheasant down. The pheasant fell dead. The bull looked at her. What's the moral of the story? Bullshit can get you at the top, but doesn't let you stay there. So my confidence was like bullshit. I was bullshitting through my life. I just got lucky. Till one person just came and says, "You're the best of the worst." So you see, sometimes you need hunters in life. Very important, because they ground you. Many people will tell you, feel, dream big, and you will go to all these talks with all these amazing people who have given you a lot of lectures, and you'll go all powered and say, "I will achieve it." Because you are now fueled with all the talks that you've heard of people. But you must remember that the opportunities that existed for me will not be there for you. There was once upon a time when I was 18, at the anvil of my career, and I was also thinking of doing IIT, and I did give the entrance exam. I failed, thank God for that. Okay. But I then said, okay, why not MBBS? So all of this kept happening with my life because I was a science student, governed by my ego and by the social conditioning that boys should only do science or commerce. Commerce was out of the question. I'm not good with money. So science was the next option. Never ever thinking that, but I also like dance, and I also like philosophy, and I also like literature, but hey, that's not for guys. But much later, life slaps you and says, what the hell are you doing? I know you're intelligent and I know you can do this subject, but just because you can do things doesn't mean that you love doing them. Doesn't mean that you'll be committed for a long time. So it's very important to learn the third lesson in life, that don't listen to people's, talks and stories about how successful they have become, because their journey, and if you track that story, if you choose the same path, and if you kind of try and walk the same ladder, you'll realize that you might not get that success. Simply because the times have changed, you are a different person, your story will be a very different story. So please remember that when you make a decision in life, that you make one with absolute clarity, because confidence is like bullshit. Clarity is very important when you make a decision, because clarity helps you decide what is the truth of my life. What is the truth for me, not for somebody else? It's okay to listen to people's talking and knowing about their stories, but what you need to take from them is not what he did X plus Y plus Z. No, you got to take the essence of the spirit, what made that person successful, and that essence comes from many factors. One is knowing what you really love. Two, what is your personality? Does that go with the kind of job that you want to take up? Sometimes you might want many things in life, but remember, it's not what you desire. You don't get always what you desire, but what you deserve. So are you deserving enough? Because desire ke liye to aap bahar jao, to even if you ask a poor man, he says, I want to be rich. But that doesn't make him rich. You need to be deserving. You need to be capable. Sometimes it's also important that even if you become rich, can you handle being rich? Can you handle, give a money to a beggar, give him 10,000 rupees to a beggar, and if you don't teach him how to handle that money, it will ruin him. It might even kill him the next day, because somebody else will know he's got 10,000 rupees and he's sleeping on the road. I need to kill him to take his 10,000 rupees. So you are really, putting his life in jeopardy when you think that, okay, straight solutions can help. You need to be capable. You need to be deserving. You need to be able to handle it. The other important thing is that when we are going on this journey about what's important for me, it's very important to know that even though all of you may have your dreams, and all of you may have, the goals that you want to achieve, but many times we become very stubborn about the way we want to achieve it. And this is something that I learned from my personal life. That when I thought that I would want to when people ask me, did you dream of becoming this person? And I was like, definitely not. I came from such a poor family and with no background in dance and music. It was all very small goals, very small achievable goals, because that made it more easy, more tangible, more something that I could bite into, much something that I could handle it. And as I could handle little of my success, I said, okay, I can go 2 steps more. So it's very important to know that you need to make small goals, make realistic goals. And it's also not important to have those goals. Think of the goal and forget about it. What you need to focus is on the process. Many of us want the product, but forget that the process is a very important integral part of your life. Because from trying to go from point A to point B, there is a time. And that time could be 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, whatever it is, or 3 months. It is time, and you're living each day of that life. That time needs to be fun. That time needs to be that you are motivated to do what you want to do, to achieve what you want to do. It can't be, oh, I only like the goal, the end product, but I hate the process. If you don't fall in love with the process of getting there, sooner or later, you will be demotivated and will not stick to the path. How many of us, including myself, have said, I want this, and then when the process starts to happen, when you need to work towards it, you say, Mujhe ye pasand nahi, I don't like this, I don't like this person, I don't want this. And then we lose the plot. We don't get there. So very important to know that we need to have consistency. You need to have flexibility in your plan to know that in case this doesn't work, you need to go to plan B. Most importantly, you need to fall in love with every aspect, which means you need an openness. You need an openness to handle the situation, which means you need to be able to say, okay, I want this. I don't know how to get there. I'm going to learn. I am not going to come with my ego and my prejudice and my fear and my inhibitions. I'm going to overpower them. I'm going to embrace this process. I'm going to fall in love with everything that this process requires me to get there. Only then will the whole process of getting there become enjoyable. Only then will you not focus whether it's 3 years or 5 years or 3 months or 10 months, because the process has made you such a live, throbbing human being. And it's not always about going from A to Z, because in your professional life you may want to go from A to Z, but there's also a personal life that is also happening at the same time. So you realize that many times in the process of getting into your professional life, you will encounter people personally, and that personal life will also be a very important aspect which will change you, which will give you something more than what your professional life could give you. And that is so much more important sometimes in life when you look back maybe 30 years later, when you're a 60 or 70-year-old man, and say, okay, this is what I wanted out of life professionally, but in that interim bit, personally, I also gained so many experiences, and those are so much more important when you finally cross that level of being, of trying to fit into the existential crisis, where you move on to really live life. Those are the things, those values, those learnings, those feelings, those emotions, that body of experience will be far more important than anything else. So, having concluded, I would say that it's very important for you as youth. You're sitting here, you've called at least 4 creative people from the field, from different fields of creativity. I was thinking to myself when I was looking at that board of all the speakers, I hope, the principal is thinking right. You might have some dropouts from engineering college after these talks of being motivated, but really be careful. While some of you may be motivated to do something very creative, you need to know, do you have the personality? Do you have the capability? You may want how I dance, or you might want the way this musician who played it so beautifully to play like that. But can you also handle the rigor? Can you handle the process of so many years of training? Can you enjoy that process of training? Are you going to be so in love with the training process that you don't care how many days, months, years it passes to reach where you have to? If you're ready for that, then you make that shift. If you're not, then I think you're very good where you are. So it's very important to be practical. A lot of people tell you, bade bade sapne dekho, kya soch rahe ho? I completely disagree. Because you can't build castles in the air without laying the foundations under them. Everybody can dream. But I would say, dream with your eyes open, not with your eyes closed, so that you can see the absolute reality. Coming back to my lesson number 2, which is clarity versus confidence. Confidence, you will feel something. What is confidence? It's a feeling, it's an emotion. Today my emotion is, I'm super confident of doing what I'm going to do. Tomorrow you might say, itna nahi hai. So confidence is constantly wavering. Clarity has got nothing to do with emotion. Clarity has got to do with intellect. It's hardcore intellect telling you, is this really good for you or not for you? When I say intelligent, means street intelligence, means emotional intelligence. It doesn't means, what is the, x cube, it's not a mathematical formula intelligence. I'm talking about simple intelligence, which tells you, cut the bullshit, cut your confidence, cut your emotions, what really is you, and can that match what you want out of life? And that intellect is very important, and we need to use that, because we are our body, which is very important. We are also the mind, which is also the emotions. But it's the intellect that will help you understand what you're feeling. The intellect will also make you understand your own mind and decide that this mind works for this kind of a job, works for this kind of a, personality, works for this kind of business that you're looking for. It's very important to have that concept of matching your personality, matching your emotions, matching your capability, and then making the decision, and not just only going by the overdrive of emotions, because then you might get lost and disillusioned. And this is very important that you take from here, that all the speakers who have come and shared, we're all creating impressions on you. We're all creating small memories in your brain in terms of exactly how to experience life, how to see and how to perceive. And with that, I say thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.